All right, with us now, Elliot Ackerman, decorated Marine officer, formerly with the CIA, as well as best-selling author. His new book, Sheepdogs, it's awesome, trust me, is out now. Danielle Pletka, American Enterprise Institute Senior Fellow, focuses on U.S. foreign policy, the Middle East, and terrorism. Danielle, I want to start with you. When we look at this one report that focuses just on satellite images coming from right after the bombings at some of Iran's nuclear sites, it feels as though it is quite narrow, and my friends at other networks are extrapolating an awful lot from it to try and make Donald Trump look bad. Is that fair?
I think that's the underlying motivation here. Look, you know, those of us who have paid a lot of attention to Iran over the years know that the visibility that our intelligence community has had into the Iranian nuclear weapons program has been, let's just say politely, somewhat limited. So the idea that 3 days later, they know that having dropped 1/3 of a million tons of explosives on these areas, they know it didn't work. It doesn't ring true to me.
Fair enough. The follow-on to that is, I don't think the Israelis, who have much better visibility into this, as evidenced by the first 9 days of this war and what they were able to pull off, they wouldn't have allowed this to stop if they thought Iran was just a couple of months away from a nuclear weapon.
No, that's absolutely true. Look, the Israelis have gone in because they felt that the Iranians had turned a critical corner, both on their missile program and on their nuclear weapons development. So the idea that suddenly Israel would back off and accept a ceasefire with the mission far from accomplished, which is what these leaks suggest, seems not credible.
All right, fair enough. I agree with both with the analysis. Elliot, there is something here that I think is important, because yes, exactly how many centrifuges were damaged, destroyed, on and on is important, but also I think what Israel did to the Iranians in terms of penetrating them and sowing discord and division inside of the Iranian military is important. I want to play this. This was audio from right before the ceasefire. It was the Israeli intelligence services calling Iranian generals and saying, we already killed a number of your commanders, those higher-ranked generals, you're next. Take a listen.
من از کشوری زنگ میزنم که 2 ساعت پیش باقری سلامی شمخانی رو دونه دونه فرستاد جهنم. الان تنها پیشنهادی هم که به تو میکنم، هم میتونم بهت پیشنهاد کنم 12 ساعت وقت داری که پاتو بگیری با زن و بچت فرار کنی.
You have 12 hours to escape. Elliot, are we focusing too much on the B-2s and Fordo versus what the Israelis were able to do in taking Iran apart?
Yeah, I think that's right. You know, I agree with everything that Danielle said, and that the Israelis acted because they felt there was an imminent threat, as to the administration. But I think also there was a unique opportunity in that Iran has just been significantly weakened since October 7th, as well as its proxies. And so the window to do this was right now. And I think, you know, the administration and the Israelis wanted to take that opportunity before Iran could reconstitute itself.
You write spy novels. Is there things that the Israelis did that you had never thought possible?
Well, I think if you're in the espionage business, it's a business of always trying to make the impossible possible. But there's certainly, you know, some operations they've run that have been incredibly creative. I mean, first and foremost, the pager operation that decapitated Hezbollah, and the Iranians obviously saw that and know that the Israeli penetrations into Iran run very, very deep.
Yeah, and that's probably important to keep them guessing. Danielle, recently ICE just announced that they arrested 11 Iranian nationals, including a former Iranian army sniper and a Hezbollah-linked terrorist. What is Iran's desire at this point? They said, yes, we agreed to a ceasefire. They kind of cried mercy. You study them. Does that mean they're backing down on trying to exact some revenge for being humiliated?
Not a chance. Look, ever since 1979, when this regime came to power, and one of their first actions was to take the U.S. Embassy and all of its residents, our diplomats, hostage and hold them for 444 days, they have been killing Americans. Until 9/11, they had killed more Americans in the modern era than anybody else, and they're still trying. They tried to kill the President of the United States. They're trying to kill the National Security Advisor, the Secretary of State, the former Iran negotiator. They tried to kill the Saudi ambassador in a restaurant in Georgetown a few years ago. These are people who use terrorists and their own direct proxies and criminal gangs. So the idea that they wouldn't have fed people across the border during 4 years of open borders is laughable.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.